What's going on, guys, and welcome back to NBA Reloaded. The NBA playoffs have been the stage for some of the most iconic and memorable moments in all of sports, as well as some of the most intense team and individual matchups ever. Here are 10 NBA playoffs' biggest surprises. But before we get started, please be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any of our future videos going forward. Number 10, 1959 West Finals. The Lakers upset the Hawks. We have an upset right away that might make it to the top 10, but I'm going to keep it as honorable mention for a few reasons. The Boston Celtics won every NBA title from 1957 through 1966, with the exception of the 1958 finals, which they lost in 6 games to the St. Louis Hawks. The Hawks were back as the top team in the Western Conference in the 1959 playoffs, and they faced the Minneapolis Lakers in the conference finals. The Lakers had a 33-39 regular record, while the Hawks had a 49-23 record. However, the Lakers had a rookie named Elgin Baylor, who led them to a massive upset of the reigning champs. The Lakers sealed the surprise by scoring 33 points in Game 6. Number 9, Will Chamberlain, 92 in total stats. NBA.com/stats tracks total stats, which include points, rebounds, and assists. Will Chamberlain's enormous 56-point, 35-rebound effort is the largest game in NBA playoff history by that metric. Chamberlain also had 1 assist for a total of 92 points. The record was established against the Syracuse Nationals, now Philadelphia 76ers, on March 22, 1962. The total surpassed Chamberlain's previous record of 87, established precisely 2 years before. It's difficult to rank games played before the lanes were widened, but this was the most spectacular show of domination from that period. Number 8, 1977 NBA Finals. The Trail Blazers beat the 76ers. Blazer Mania began during the 1976-77 NBA season and peaked in the NBA Finals against the widely fancied Philadelphia 76ers. This was an exceptionally stacked Sixers squad. Julius Erving, or Dr. J if you prefer, Darryl Dawkins, and George McGinnis were among them. A youthful Portland club, captained by a young Bill Walton, was up against them. Walton had Herb Gilliam and Maurice Lucas on his side, but most expected the youthful Blazers to crumble under the strain of the Sixers' all-star team. That proved true for the first 2 games, as the Sixers led 2-0. However, the series took a turn at the conclusion of Game 2 when Dawkins and the Blazers' Bobby Gross got into a brawl. The Blazers were first enraged, then retaliated, and finally won the championship in only 6 games. With 20 points and 23 rebounds in Game 6, Walton led Portland to its first NBA championship. Number 7, 1981 first round. The Rockets stunned the Lakers. In actuality, the Rockets' whole season was a massive upset, but it started with a surprising first-round victory against the Lakers. The Los Angeles Lakers were the current NBA champions. Most people anticipated the Lakers, led by Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, to make a significant push at repeating as champions. Meanwhile, the Houston Rockets entered the playoffs with a 40-42 record. The number 3 seeded Lakers, on the other hand, couldn't handle Moses Malone or Calvin Murphy, and the Rockets stunned Los Angeles by capturing 2 of 3. The Rockets subsequently defeated the Spurs and the equally mediocre Kansas City Kings before succumbing in 6 games to Larry Bird, Robert Parrish, and the rest of the Boston Celtics. This would be higher if it weren't for the best-of-3 format that started it all. It's difficult to give much credibility to a series that concludes at 2-1 when, by today's standards, it should have merely gotten better. Number 6, Tim Duncan, near quadruple double. Tim Duncan is the best player of his generation, maybe even better than Kobe Bryant. He doesn't nearly have the same fan base as Bryant, however. It's partly due to the fact that he plays for a small market club with a limited fan base. His best playoff performance occurred in one of the least watched finals games in history, demonstrating this. Duncan scored 21 points, grabbed 20 rebounds, tallied 10 assists, and blocked 8 shots against 2 of the best defense centers in the league at the time, Dikembe Mutombo and Jason Collins of the New Jersey Nets in Game 6 of the 2003 NBA Finals, coming as close to anyone in history to a postseason quadruple-double. Duncan had another game that may have made this list when he scored 32 points, 20 rebounds, 6 assists, 7 blocks, and 3 steals in Game 1 of that series, just missing a playoff 5x5, which has also never been done. Number 5, Bob Cousy, 50 points, 32 free throws, 66 minutes. On March 21, 1953, Bob Cousy began employment. He scored 50 points in a quadruple overtime game in which he played 66 minutes, which is almost 2 games' worth. But it isn't the most astonishing aspect. He also established the record for most free throws made, which is 30. However, his previous high of 32 free throw attempts in that game has since been surpassed. Cousy's height and stature, a paltry 175 pounds, make it impossible for him to play 66 minutes and go to the line 32 times. His body must have taken a battering throughout the game, which is surely not something the typical person would want to go through. Number 4, Hakeem Olajuwon, 49 points, 25 rebounds, 6 blocks. Hakeem Olajuwon may have had the most demoralizing game in NBA playoff history on May 14, 1987. In 53 minutes, he scored 49 points, grabbed 25 rebounds, blocked 6 shots, and added 2 steals and 2 assists, and he was defeated in spite of that. He made 19 of 33 field goals and 11 of 13 free throws. The game went to double overtime, but the Seattle Supersonics prevailed 128-125 in Game 6 of the second round series. It's difficult to envision a more agonizing defeat when you consider Olajuwon's massive output, the fact that no one else on his team scored 20 points, the duration of the game, and the fact that it terminated the Houston Rockets' season. Number 3, Charles Barkley, 40-point triple-double. Charles Barkley had some incredible playoff performances, but since he never won a championship and was not a role model, he's sometimes overlooked in history. On June 1, 1993, he established the record for most points scored in a triple-double by averaging 43 points, 15 rebounds, and 10 assists in leading the Phoenix Suns to a Game 5 victory against the Seattle Supersonics in the Western Conference Finals. He scored 44 points and collected 24 rebounds in Game 7 to seal the series 4 days later. Number 2, Michael Jordan, 63-point game. What's the value of a game in which one of the best players in NBA history accuses God of playing for the other team? After seeing Jordan's 63-point outburst, which came only 20 games into Jordan's hashtag return, Larry Bird stated, "I never imagined anybody could accomplish what Michael has done for us. He's the most entertaining and amazing player in the game right now. I believe it's just God dressed as Michael Jordan." The Bulls lost that game and the series, but the 63 points scored are still the highest ever in a playoff game. Number 1, 2004 NBA Finals, the Pistons put an end to the Lakers dynasty. The NBA Finals in 2004 featured a mix of styles. The Los Angeles Lakers had 3 consecutive NBA championships from 2000 to 2003, but had been defeated the year before by the San Antonio Spurs. They added role players in the summer by bringing in Gary Payton and Karl Malone with the express intent of winning a championship, which would be the first for either veteran. On the other side, the Detroit Pistons were famed for their oppressive defense. With one important difference, the 2004 NBA Finals fight between the two teams would be remarkably similar to their battles for the NBA title in the late 1980s. The Pistons were heavy underdogs against the Lakers this time around. The Lakers' Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, Payton, Malone, and the rest of the team were expected to be too much for Detroit, according to the experts. They were completely incorrect. The Lakers were in danger from the start of Game 1. The Pistons restricted the Lakers to only 75 points in an 87-75 triumph, focusing on not allowing anybody other than Kobe or Shaq to defeat them. In Game 2, Kobe would force overtime with a semi-miracle three-pointer with approximately 2 seconds remaining. Lakers supporters heaved a sigh of relief as the Lakers won 99-91 in overtime. And with that, guys, we've come to the end of our video. If you enjoyed this video, let us know by smashing that like button, and if you haven't done so already, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell so you don't miss out on future videos going forward. And until next time, take care and goodbye.